sounds redundant. How do we say bracha that should be the iter v'zmani? He explained because there's two zmanim. There's a zman that you try to be kuveya, and then there's a zman in Shemayim that Kodesh Baruch Hu says zeh zman toy for the bris milah. So starting that to explain the way when Baruch Hashem it happened the zman toy and Baruch Hashem. Also, I just first start with it, express my chorus and tell you. I'll go with the Seder of Dvora from when the baby was born until this point. That Baruch Hashem already it was late in the middle of Thursday night. I hadn't slept in 2 days, and Baruch Hashem after everything went well. And my wife was resting in the hospital. Baruch Hashem, my in-laws were very helpful to allow me to come to Shabbos, and they put together last minute Shalom Zocha. It allowed me to rest, and my faith was back. It was very nice, very grateful for that. And coming up to the bris, as I was planning it, trying to decide what to do, where to do, Baruch Hashem, I spoke to Rebbe, the Shiro, Bengal, and he just all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's on Friday, so why don't you just do it here? But that's great, brilliant. We'll do that. And that makes things easier for me. And then Baruch Hashem, afterwards I was speaking to my parents, and they offered to help me out, and they definitely catered the whole thing, Baruch Hashem, and they bought from the supermarket, they bought stuff, and of course I have to express publicly first to my wife. I can't fully say that I can stand in her place, but I can imagine that it's very to this point, birth and the milah. I'm very grateful for. Even now, when I come home, she's very nice. She's trying to still cook. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm not sorry, Baruch Hashem. And of course, the special person to I think, your whole life is probably one long story, but I think there could be chapters, and that from the beginning of the shidduch process to having a child, that becomes a chapter, and the entire process, step by step. If you know the story in detail, there was a tremendous amount of siyat d'shmaya to this point, and Baruch Hashem, and special person, that the wife is healthy, the baby's healthy, the bris is mommy, and yeah. So when I was preparing something, if you know me a little bit, I like to speak a lot. I won't do that right now, but I got interested in the bracha of Lafnisa B'Brisa Shalom Avinu. I was learning up the halachas a little bit, and I thought, hey, this would be something small and nice that I can talk about, and it's not small at all. Like any sugi, you probably learn, it probably comes out much larger than what you expect it to be. We'll begin. I was learning up about this bracha to understand it. And I think there's very 4 sheets of how to understand this bracha. I won't go through all of them, but we'll see where we begin. The sugi begins on in Shabbos Kufran Zayin Beis, right? And there it brings a brisa about the brachas that you make by a milah, and the brisa goes that it discusses that there's the bracha that the male makes al a milah. And then it discusses the bracha that the Abi Abed makes, that things are B'Risa Shalom Avinu. And on the daf, the Rashbam and Rabbeinu Tam, they have a machlekes if the bracha is made oiv l'asiyoson or not. Right? The Rashbam, right? The bracha that Abi Abed makes, right after the male makes the bracha, is this bracha made before the Ma'aser Milah happens, or is it made afterwards? So machlekes rishonim, Rashbam and Rabbeinu Tam. The Rashbam brings 2 rayas why it should be before. He says that the lashon bracha lahachnisoi is mashma lahabo. So if you would say it after the milah took place, it would be sheker. You'd be saying sheker in his bracha. So that's one reason why it should be made before the mitzvah is Mekayim. And also we have a cloud in Birkas mitzvahs that kol mitzvah is the bracha ben over l'asiyasim. Right? What about the clouds? It's partial. So at this point, the Chayre one would say that the Rashbam is clear that this bracha of the Aviyah Ben is a Birkas mitzvah. Right? He asks a kasha from over l'asiyasim, which is a cloud by Birkas mitzvah. So the Rashbam understands it's a Birkas mitzvah. Okay. Rabbeinu Tam, he says no. It seems like there's a machlekes about the minhag in Klai. So the Rashbam's malkum was doing like this, Rabbeinu Tam's malkum was doing like that. So the Rabbeinu Tam brought it back to the minhag. They're like of their brothers. It's fascinating. They're brothers, and they're both arguing with each other, and each one in his own malkum is doing the opposite from the other one. So Rabbeinu Tam, he says no. The Girsa Brisa is that the bracha of Birkas HaKnisa is made after the meal takes place. And he brings rayas from the sugi over there that from the brisa itself, it's mashma, it's made afterwards. And he enters up the rayas of the Rashbam. The first raya that from Lahachnisa, he says that's not a raya because he argues that the Rashbam had a certain understanding of the sugi in Pesachim Daf Zayin. Livaer, he understands that it only means lahabo, whereas the Benetham says no, that it's mashma tfei lahabo, but it also has a mashmois of la'ava, of meikar. Right, so the machlekes, the first machlekes is that when you have a lamid, is it only lahabo, or it could also be a mashmois of shalva. That's that raya. And the second raya of Oivlas Yoson, he brings the cloud of I think it's a cloud of the goinim, that when the mitzvah is being mekayim ayidei acher, right? So the bracha. Right, when the Ma'aseh mitzvah is ayidei acher, the bracha is made acher asiyasim. And Taisus Sham doesn't explain the reason why there's an exception to the rule that it should be made acher asiyasim. Now, this is Rabbeinu Tam speaking, and this Taisus of Fanenu, it's clear that if you iron the Rosh, the Taisus the Rosh and Shubas, is that there's actually two terutzim of Rabbeinu Tam. Right, this is one teretz for Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam is a different teretz to answer up the Rashbam's rayas, and he goes with a different kivun that the Birkas Aviyah Ben is a Birkas Shvach. But the Taisus of Fanenu seems to understand that it's a Birkas mitzvah also, and he's bringing the cloud to going. And if you iron the Torah, you see that the Torah lays out three. It sounds like he's laying out three shitas. He's laying out the shitas of Rav Sar going, Rav Sar Shalom going, I think, Rabbeinu Tam and the Rashbam, and then later he brings the shitas around Rambam. So the Chor, it seems to be that in Rabbeinu Tam there's two reasons. The Taisus of Fanenu says that it's a Birkas mitzvah. So the first thing is to understand what is this cloud? What's the difference that if the Ma'aseh mitzvah is being done ayidei acher, all of a sudden the cloud is that it has to be acher asiyasim. So in another place there's a Rabbeinu Peretz in Pesachim, and the Abu Dharam, when the Abu Dharam brings this cloud, he says that there seems to be there's a chash bracha levatol, and each one has a different nusach. One nusach is that maybe the moil will be nimlach. You won't do the middle. So how can you make this bracha? You have a chash bracha levatol. Another nusach is that maybe he'll be niskalkel the milo, and it'll be a bracha levatol. So the question on that is that, and I think the Abu Dharam himself already asked, is that what exactly is the chilek if the moil, right, the moil himself definitely makes his bracha uvlas yosva. You don't have a chash bracha levatol. Saying it's very schwer to say that the dargis chash changes if you yourself are doing the mitzvah, right? If you're telling me that the nusach is that we're scared that maybe you're going to be niskalkel the middle. So why doesn't the moil himself have the same chash? And to say that because he knows about himself that he can do the mitzvah, etc., I think that Lamaisa, is there a chash or not? If you say the chash is less, okay, so it's a lesser chash. But Lamaisa, is there a chash bracha levatol or not? What's the chilek if it's ayidei acher? All of a sudden we have a chash bracha levatol, you have to be acher asiyasim. But if you're making if you're doing the mitzvah yourself, and all of a sudden we're not choishish for that maybe there's something's going to happen and the mitzvah won't take place. No, we have the cloud, kol mitzvahs, the bracha over l'asiyasim. So what's the pshat in the cloud? So I was thinking of something that I thought about something from because of I saw in the Meiri in talking about time. When the Meiri brings this cloud, right? When he explains this cloud, he connects it about when a person makes a bracha on a lulav. In the sugi over there, it's mashma that you're making the bracha while you're already holding the lulav. Let's take the sugi over there. It's a question, I think the Mary's they're trying to discuss, why are you doing that? Why are you holding the lulav ready to make the bracha when it's on the table? So he explains the same cloud. He says, what I'm explaining to you now, why when it's ayidei acher, you have to make the bracha. Achas yosan. The reason why we do that is the same reason why when you make the bracha of the lulav, you should be holding the lulav. So what do you see from there? You see the Miri is making a connection. He's not saying that the chilek is that it's only when it's ayidei acher. He's saying there's a case where even when you yourself are doing the mitzvah, there's a need for you to be holding the lulav. It's not having ayidei acher, and the explanation why we do that, it's the same thing in both cases. So what does he explain over there? He explains, he says a lashon that al smach ma, I'm not fitting exactly the lashon, but al smach what can you make the bracha? So I'm saying that the klal is that it's not the pshat that we're making chidukim when there's a chash. L'maisa there's a chash bracha levatala if you make the bracha over l'asiyasa. Right? You should always say it. Right? The whole chi of a bracha is only because of the mitzvah that you're about to perform. And the klal dvarim is that, right? The rega hakoidim that you're about to time the mitzvah, so that's the zman that you make the bracha of that mitzvah. So when did Chazal say that you can be soymech, that you have the reshus, that you give the reshus to say that that's the rega hakoidim that you can make the bracha of that ma'aseh mitzvah. There has to be some sort of smach to say that we can be soymech that we can say that this zman right before the mitzvah is about to be performed. So they say that this is a that that when it's happening, ayidei acher, they say the ma'aseh we have a chash. We should always have a chash bracha levatala. That the mitzvah, that who says the mitzvah is going to be mekayim? Who says the ma'aseh mitzvah is going to happen? But when you are the person who's performing the mitzvah, so that it's biyodoi, it's in your reshus to mekayim that mitzvah. So there Chazal is saying that we're soymech on the fact that's enough to say that you can have the cloud of Yosim that we allow you to make the bracha at that moment. But if somebody else is performing the mitzvah, so Chazal is saying that we have a hakbol on the cloud. We have shoshois. It's not vada that the mitzvah is going to happen. So b'mokim zu, we say that it's better to say that the bracha be achas yosan as opposed to oivas yosan. And with this, the Mir also is explaining by the lulav. Again, because you can't make the bracha a day earlier, you can't make the bracha 2 hours earlier. The bracha always has to be made samuch mamish to the ma'aseh mitzvah. That's the klal. So the Mir is understanding that if the lulav is on the table, that's not enough. There's not enough smichus yet between the mitzvah and the ma'aseh mitzvah you're about to do. So he says that's why you have to pick up the lulav. You hold the lulav, and then that allows you to make the bracha. And who I did by the acher. I'm not the one who's in charge of this mitzvah. Maybe he'll do it, maybe he won't do it. But there's not enough smichus to the mitzvah that allows us to say that you can make the bracha right now. It's better the bracha made achas yosem. That's I'm understanding maybe the pshat in this klal. And it's ayidei acher. Now, l'chayr you can say that the Rashbam argues on that point. He held that no, that he doesn't argue that. He holds that there's no such klal that every birkas and mitzvah, the bracha is made oivas yosem. Every birkas and mitzvah is oivas yosem. He doesn't hold the klal. The going and argues. Yeah. Now, on this point, about this, one could die that maybe in this, when the mitzvahs are behind the acher and the cloud is that it's acher asiyasa. So maybe it's maki that Chazal were mataking that this bracha could only mean acher asiyasa. What would be though if the person made the bracha oiva asiyasa? Right? That's what we passing at the cloud the goinim. He made oiva asiyasa. Is he now making the bracha in the makom that we're not mataking to make a bracha here? It's not the makom to make the bracha. You're saying it's a bracha vatal. So the Rashba, Shuas Rashba explains that no. He explains the cloud, and he says that even though that the cloud is Achas Yosan, but it's not to say that we're Oikel Lagamri from the cloud of Avras Yosan. About it's a Birkas and Mitzvah. And it always has to, and if you make the bracha Avras Yosan, so Adaim we have the cloud, that's a good mokum to make the bracha. And you're Mekayim bracha b'di'evet. It's only lichatchila that we have. Again, we see the cloud that I was saying before, that I think that Chazal made a hakbola. When can you make the when can we be soymech that we allow you, we give you the reshus to make the bracha before the ma'aseh mitzvah? Even though there's a chash, maybe there'll be a bracha batal. So over here it's achas yason. But if it happened to come out that it's oivras yason, so b'di'evet you're mekayim your bracha and you wouldn't make the bracha again. Now, fine. That's the machlekes Rashbam and Rabbeinu Tam. Back and forth. But again, if you in this chilek of the sugya, it seems to come out that both the Rashbam and Rabbeinu Tam are masking that's a birkas mitzvah. And they're arguing, where do you make it? Achas yosan, oivas yosan. But again, we still have a pashto question. Why is there a second bracha? Why is there a second bracha? Right? If the alamila is a birkas mitzvah and la'achnisa rebisha avinu is a birkas mitzvah, so why would Chazal attacking the second bracha? It's strange, right? I think I'm getting someone actually asked the question. He doesn't understand why. Where do we? I want to say enough. What would be the case of where the avia ben is the moyo? They done. Maybe the avia ben should only make one bracha because loy matzanu 2 brachos of 1 mitzvah. So to say that that's not the pshat, because the same Shuvas Rashba and the Shulti Giborim, they say that a nafkamino between the Rabbeinu Tam and the Rashbam over here. Rabbeinu Tam is arguing the Rashbam. But what would be in the case of the Aviyah Ben? If he's the moil, so then even Rabbeinu Tam is masking that the bracha is oiv la'asiyasa, because the whole klal is that when it's ayidei acher, so then we have to say it's acher asiyasa. But if the Aviyah Ben is the moil himself, so the Rashbam, the Shulchan said nafkamino that Rabbeinu Tam is also masking that the bracha of la'achnisa b'yisrael avinu is made over la'asiyasa. What do you see from them? That they seem to understand that even when the Aviyah Ben is making the moil, he himself is still making 2 brachas, right? Because what are they saying in nafkamino? If the Aviyah Ben always Talmud always makes 1's brachas, so then what are they saying that if the Aviyah is a moil, so now it's of la'asiyasa? Mamonashach he has to make 1 bracha. So you see from the Rash and the Shulchan Giborim that even when the Aviyah Ben is a moil, he still makes 2 brachos, and that's where the big question is. Ma tiva shel brachos hu. It's why do we find that you make a second bracha on 1 mitzvah? So I was thinking from this thesis over here to maybe say a pshat that the brisa, right? This same brisa that's discussing the moil and the Aviyah Ben also discusses 2 other cases. It discusses what about by a ger, what about by an eved. By a ger also, the nusach, the girsa of Tosis, his girsa is that there's 2 brachas by a ger and there's 2 brachas by an eved. By the milas of eved, there's also 2 brachas. By the milas of ger, there's also 2 brachas. And when the Rabbeinu Tam is arguing on the Rashbam, he brings a raya connected to the Rashbam that this bracha must be achas yasan. Why? He makes a whole cheshbon. He says that just like it seems to be that by the ger's second bracha, it seems to be that bracha is connected the bracha that we make by the Aviyah Ben, and then he proves that the bracha that you make by the ger, that for sure is achas yasan. So if the bracha by the ger is achas yasan, who adin the Aviyah Ben? That's the Rabbeinu Tam's raya connected to Rashbam. So I can ask, what is the raya? It's 2 different. Maybe it's 2 different brachas. Maybe by the ger, there's some reason that it should be achas yasin, but by the Aviyah Ben, it should be. It's a bigger mitzvah. And the Rashbam held that it's achas yasin. What was the shaykhis that Rabbeinu Tam saw between? He says that the Chazal made a bracha for the milas hakaltam and Aviyah Ben. They made a bracha by the ger. If you find by the ger, it's afterwards who did the Aviyah Ben. So. From that point, I was thinking maybe to say a pshat why we find two brachas that I was thinking that there's the mitzvah milo, the klaus, right? But we find that there's three oifanim where you have that chiyuv. There's an oifin by a milah sekatan, lachnisa v'isa sham avinu. There's an oifin by a ger, and there's an oifin by an eved. And each chiyuv, even though it's the same mitzvah milo, but the prat, the mitzvah, what's happening with the mitzvah is differing in each situation. By milah sekatan, lachnisa v'isa sham avinu. Right, that would be machnis the cotton into his status of being a part of Klal Yisrael, of Torah or mitzvahs, being Eved Hashem. But by a ger, over there, the chiv of milah is in order to bring about the chalei years. By an Eved, the choyer it's the same thing. I think Kashis by an Eved also the milah also brings about the chalei avdus, right? And again, the kedusha of an Eved is different than the kedusha of a ger. So the chalais kedusha we have from the milah might be different by an eved, and it could be also that we find by an eved a separate chiyuv that an odin or the odin of the eved, he has a chiyuv to make a milah of his eved, but according to the eved, right? We see that by Karban Pesach that it's ma'akiv him in the achilas Pesach, right? Whether the eved wants it or not is irrelevant. The odin is the mitzvah the odin give a milah to your eved. So the point I'm trying to bring out is that there's three separate oifanim that we find the chiv milah. So maybe Efsher Chazal therefore is saying we're mataking a second brocha that relates to the prat of the specific oifen of where we're being mekayim this mitzvah milah. So by and Avadi you have to make a brachas klaus of ala milah because it's one ma'isa mitzvah. There's no difference in the etzem asiyas mitzvah whether it's eved ger or by the father. It's the same ma'isa mitzvah. But since b'prat we find the chiyuv in three different places, extra maybe that we find that there were three different brachas to relate to the prat. But b'yosid diktuk is a mitzvah you're coming to mekayim right now. I did this milah. Amilah sekaton, amilah seger, amilah se'eved. And then we can understand why Rabbeinu Tam was said that there's a tushta between the ger to the milas koton. Chazal are mataking a second bracha depending which milah you're coming to be mekayim. That would be one shita. I go through the other shitas, but I think we'll do it here. Because other shitas also they explain the bracha. Again, also thank you for all of you for. I'm sorry? Next bris. Oh, next bris. Oh. That's the Shem, next bris. Okay, again, thank you all for coming. And then, yeah.